Hey guys, happy. I was gonna say Friday then. It's not Friday, it's Wednesday.
Really feels like a Friday for
It
us.
does, yes. I thought it was Saturday actually earlier. Anyway, happy Wednesday, hump day, middle of the week. Hope you're having a bloody fantastic week so far. We've got a good one tonight. They're all good.
It's always good.
They're always good. But tonight in particular is a very, very good one. And we thought about this last night and we were like, how can we do this? Because we always get this question with our clients like, how heavy should I be lifting on X? Or how heavy should I be lifting on Y? And it's very, very difficult to give the amount because, like, what I lift will be different from what Cam lifts, even if it's the same lift. Okay. So we'll be talking a little bit generically, of course, and then we'll just touch along some things as we go as well. When you are dropping in here, guys, put hello, hashtag I'm here, hashtag replay, and your name so I can see. Hey, Rosie, Jody, Grace. Rosie loves a hump day, and Jody and Grace just love lifting heavy, don't they?
Love it.
They freaking love it. Vicky, what's going on? Hannah, hello, everybody. So we're not gonna prance around tonight, are we? We're going straight in because we've got our Zoom call with our lovely, lovely clients in about 30 minutes. So we're going to try and get this done. Hey, Lindsay, and hello, Julie. All righty, let's jump in. So how heavy should you be lifting? It's a question that we get asked all the time. And like I said earlier, it's very difficult to answer this specifically because if I'm doing an overhead press, maybe I can do 15s. But if Cam's doing an overhead press, maybe he can do 12s, So so it really depends on each person. Hey, Jenna. So maybe first we'll talk about the differences of how you can lift or why you might not be able to lift as much. And then we'll give like a general guidance. So like things that would differ or reasons that you would be able to lift different weights. Okay, so gender. Men can generally lift heavier than women, particularly upper body, although I see women hip thrust way more than men. Okay, they're just stronger that way. So gender has got something to do with it. And this is obviously not just to do with mass and size, but things like hormones as well. Men have got higher testosterone levels than women, which will enable them to push and get stronger. What else, Cam?
Size and mass, I think, is the biggest thing. Like mass moves mass. So the bigger the person, the more weight they're generally going to be able to shift.
Yeah.
So I just think people need to understand the word like relevance or what's relevant. Like there's two things. There's absolute strength and then there's relevant strength. And you always want to work on relevant strength because it's just you're only going to beat yourself down by focusing on the other. So if, for example,
give a pull-up as an example because that's a good one.
I'll keep with my own example.
Okay.
Don't put me on the spot.
Okay, I'll
I'm not good on the spot. So if they was like 200 kilos, let's just imagine she's 200 kilos and I'm skinny and I'm 100 kilos. If Faye comes in and does one rep of a 200 kilo deadlift, she's only lifting 1 times her body weight. If I come in and I do it, that'd be like double body weight. So obviously I would win the relevant category. But then if Faye lifted, say 205, 210, it'd be more than me. Where am I going with this?
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be more than me, but I would still have a higher relevant count, even if I still did 200 kilos. So absolute, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's all about relevant and how relevant is it to your body weight. Because you literally, the bigger the person, like strong men, they lift loads because they literally weigh like 20 stone, like 200 kilos. So it's impressive, but it's not as impressive as Sally doing like triple body weight in the Olympics.
Our Sally.
Our Sally
Okay.
in the Olympics. So Olympic lifting, they do like 3 times their body weight.
Yeah. And so where I was going with the pull-up is, let's say that you can do 5. Let's say you could do 5 pull-ups right now, and then you put on some weight. Okay, you start to get a little bit heavy. Maybe you put on 5 kilograms, right? 10 pounds, wherever it's going to be. Now you can still do 5, and you're like, why am I getting stronger? I'm practicing this all the freaking time. Well, now it's because you're heavier, so you've got more to pull. So you will be getting stronger, because if you were staying the same or getting weaker, you wouldn't be able to do 5. And likewise, if you get lighter, now this is a bit of a funny one actually. If you get lighter, typically you should be able to do more, because you're now lifting less off the ground or wherever you're from. But if you're losing muscle, then obviously you're going to be lighter, but you're not going to be as strong. What have you just done?
That was the iPad.
Kicking shit around.
Oh, move.
So you can't, what we're trying to say is basically your body weight gives you the determining factor of your goals, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, what you're going to lift.
Yeah. So we've got body weight and mass, gender, experience. So someone that's been going to the gym for years is going to be way stronger than someone that's just started. Okay. What else? Is there anything else really?
I think they're the main factors.
Genetic potential. Yeah, genetic potential. That's the other one. It just popped into my head.
If your parents are 2 Olympic athletes, you've probably got a better genetic potential than Sally and John down the road.
Although, so it's not just like that kind of genetics. Okay, like you may have the genetics, you may have the stature, you may have the muscle, what's the word? Twitch fibers to be able to Olympic lift, or you might have the genetic potential to do long distance running. So like Mo Farah is not going to be able to do any Olympic lifting half as much as Sally in the Olympics, whoever the Sally is. So it's genetics as well. So you might just not be strong upper body. You just might not be strong lower body. You just might not be able to run. But that doesn't mean you quit, okay? It just means you have to work a little bit harder in that area. So how do you know if you're lifting heavy enough? What's one thing you can look at when you're there?
2 things.
Okay, 2 things.
2 things. You can guess the second one, and I'll say the first one. I think this is quite easy. This is what we see a lot in videos, is the speed of like your first 2 to 4 lifts, 2 reps, compared to your last 2 to 4 reps. If these are always looking the same through all of your exercises, and even towards the end of the workout where you should be more tired, then you're not pushing yourself. There's no way you're challenging the body enough to really tell it like, hey, this person keeps pushing for more strength, so we need to now build more muscle so this can become easy again. So if you record yourself for a whole set and you're going the same tempo and speed, we'll talk about faces in another one, then the intensity is just not there for you. Like it's easy to tell. Like we can watch it. Sometimes it might feel harder in person, but when you watch it on camera, it can look a little bit different. But the camera still doesn't lie. If that's the speed of the lift, then it's not slowing down as much as you think, and maybe you think it's a lot heavier than it is. So it's your own mind playing against you.
And also form is the other thing you could check on videos as well, because you might think, oh yeah, I'm still doing this squat, but you're like bending over, you're like knees are caving in, it looks like you're going to snap your spine. Like that is not, you might be lifting heavy, but you're not lifting well. Okay, so that's another thing. Faces is what I was going to say, actually.
Yeah, that's my second one.
Yeah, like you should be looking like you are pooping your pants when it comes to the end of your reps. Like if you're still able to be like, yeah, so on Saturday I did this and then blah, blah, blah. And then she said that and then did it. And you're like so in the conversation and so easy that you're not even thinking about it. It should be so hard that you lose count. Like how many are left? Like that's how much you want to be pushing. So that's how you can kind of tell if it's heavy. Is the speed or heavy enough? The speed. Also your goals. Like you might not want to be lifting heavy for whatever reason. Maybe you're injured. Yeah. Maybe you're working on a certain part. So if you're weak at the bottom of a squat, this is when you get stuck in the hole. That's just called stuck in the hole. then maybe you're just working the bottom part of your squat, which is called like an Anderson squat. So you might find that very, very difficult. It might be lighter than what you're used to. You might be able to lift 90 in a normal squat and 50 in an Anderson squat, and it'll still be as hard as that 90. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it's in the hard area.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so they're the kind of reasons why you might not be able to lift as much as someone else. How you can tell if you're lifting heavy enough. And now we're going to give like general numbers. Okay, guys, do not write these down. Be like, well, I can't do this, so I'm weak. Okay, this is not for you to judge yourself. This is an example of something we made up last night, and now we're going to try and run through it.
I think the biggest thing is like starting with it is you can like we're going to say, depending how much you lift on other lifts, we'll then sort of roughly cross-reference it to other lifts. And I think a good example is if someone does like leg press and they're doing like,
I think we should start with the squat.
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
That's the first. So if they're doing like a leg press and they're doing like 90 to 100 kilos, because obviously you're sat in position, you've got a bit of stability because you can't really wobble on a leg press. You haven't got to like hold the weight. You're just sitting down, pushing up. But then someone's doing like a 15 kilo goblet squat or back squat. We're like, it's not heavy enough. If you can push good numbers on a leg press, then obviously your legs are strong enough to be able to push a lot more on a squat. It'd either be the confidence, the technique, or you just don't think you can go heavier, but you can because you've proven it in a leg press.
It's not strictly true though, because there's more to it. It's harder. So let's use an example. We're going to use the baseline as you can squat 50 kilograms, okay, for 8. Should we say 8? Seems like a reasonable number. Okay, so you can squat 50 kilograms for 8, which means that it's the bar. Let's say the bar is 20. Then you've got a 10 either side. That's 40. And then you've got a 5 either side. That's 50. Okay, so I know I'm teaching you maths, but this is how you record it. It's 50. That's not 30 because you've got to include the bar as well. So you can squat 50 kilograms. What should I be able to deadlift, do you reckon? Now, these are approximates, guys.
Anywhere between like 70 to 100.
I don't know if I got that far. Maybe for a man. I would probably say like 60 to 75. Yeah.
Yeah, you should definitely be able to do more. You should be able to deadlift more than what you can squat. But then again, this is why there's so many variables. If you've got a horrible deadlift technique, there's no way you're squatting 70.
No.
But if someone's pretty good at deadlift technique and they understand the hinge and they've got nothing wrong with their grip, they should definitely be able to hit like 70 kilos.
Yeah. I think some people, it's less people are better at a squat than a deadlift, but there are some people who are stronger in a squat than a deadlift. So we're not saying if you can do 50 squat, you have to be able to do 70 deadlift, but typically that's kind of the proportion and the ratio that you can improve on.
You're just looking for like the ratios of where you would pretty much be imbalanced if you could squat more than what you could deadlift, because your hamstrings and your glutes and your posterior chain are stronger than what primarily like your squat uses. So it just depends that you want to be balanced across the board.
Yeah, you could be like really strong in your quads though, couldn't you? And less strong in your hamstrings, so you'd be better at squat in that case. So again, these are very general numbers, but generally 50 kilogram squat, 75 deadlift. Let's say that. Okay, if you can squat 50, what should I be able to leg press? This is funny as well because some of the leg press machines are really heavy, aren't they?
Yeah, and when you do a leg press, you don't include the weight of the leg press because you don't know. It's rare that I've ever been in and the machines actually said its number. Like sometimes they randomly do, but don't ever bother counting it. You just get on it and you count whatever you put on. And if it's rare that you're going to be moving gyms all the time, unless you're asked. But you just stick with it and see what it feels like.
So what would you say? I can squat 50. I can leg press.
I'd say the same, 75 to like 100.
Yeah, I think so as well. And the reason for this is because you now don't have to stabilize your core because you sat down. And it also depends which one, right? So the horizontal one is easier than the 45-degree, like underneath one. So there's those kinds of things as well. Okay, so what next, Cam? What about hip thrust?
If we're going on the reign of that, someone is like consistent across the board and has like a year's experience under the belt. So you've done all the lifts, you know, for like at least 3 to 6 months. It's not like someone's coming in absolutely brand new.
Yeah.
Again, I'd say you should be able to do more squat because you're not supporting it on your back.
Yeah.
You should just be able to hip thrust it up. So again, it's your glutes, probably the strongest muscle in your body. Requires like less coordination. Haven't got to balance it.
Lower range of motion.
Lower range of motion. You don't need as much. What do we call it? Like core strength. Like you're still using it.
Yeah. But
not as much to support a bar on your back.
So now you're probably thinking, well, the squat is the weakest lift then, but it's not. So what would you say? Now let's talk women, okay? Because generally our clients are women and the people in our lives are women. So what should I be able to row? Single arm row. Let's do that.
What, dumbbell? Or
yeah,
cable?
dumbbell.
I don't know. How heavy is this woman?
She's me.
It'd be anywhere from like 10 to 14 to start with.
Yeah, to start with, yeah. Around 14, 16, I would say is a good amount to be lifting. So you can squat 50, you should be able to row like 16, maybe more if you've got good form. But 14, 14 to 16, I think would be a good amount. So if I can row 14, 16, how much can I bench press, dumbbell bench press, flat?
Anywhere from like 8 to 12.
Yeah, I think so.
It's not going to be like, it'd be generally less than your back.
Yeah, because it's smaller.
It's not going to be as big a gap as it is like squat and deadlift.
Yeah.
Deadlift, you should be able to do a bigger chunk more, but like your chest compared to your back, it's not, I wouldn't say there's as big as a gap.
Yeah.
So it could be anywhere from 8 to 12 and be quite similar.
Yeah. I think so. I think 8 to 12 as well. And then overhead press, seated dumbbell overhead press.
If we're saying they can do 10 to 12 chest.
Yeah, let's say I can do a 12 chest press.
It'd range from like 8 to 12 again, I'd say, because some people can press quite a lot horizontally, but as soon as you put their shoulders into it, they're really weak because they never use them.
Yeah, and also shoulders are smaller than the chest.
And it's way smaller, but I've still seen people do quite well on them.
I'm close. Thing. I think though I practice shoulder press a lot.
Your shoulders way more than chest.
Yeah.
Way more.
Way more. So if I can shoulder press, I can shoulder press like 18 to 20, sometimes 22 depending. But my chest press is like 16 to 18. Like that's it. So typically normal people should be able to push more with their chest because the chest is bigger muscle, and it also uses your shoulders slightly, doesn't it? Like your front delts. But with the shoulder press, it's just your delts, unless you're like what's the word?
Extending out.
Yeah, hyperextending and using your chest. But generally, it's just shoulders, which are small. Let's look at these comments. I die, but I know I'm starting from a different place than most. Yeah. I don't know who that is, but everyone, this is just generally speaking as someone that is my kind of stature, I guess. 135 pounds, been lifting for 6 years.
I think a really good example I forgot about, but I've just remembered. A perfect example of this is we've got a client called Alicia that has just done the photo shoot, but we did a client in-person event where we're teaching people to go to their maxes to actually realize how heavy can and should you be lifting, because if you're not training close to what you can actually lift when you're trying to like properly lift, then progress is never going to be as quick. And I can't remember what weight she put on, but we were doing back squat
like 40 or something like that.
And we're like, right, let's do a 1, a 3 or a 5 rep max depending on what you're most confident with. I think she was going for 1 because that's Alicia. Yeah,
She likes to push
I
herself.
think she's going for one. But me and Faye were there to spot people and also teach people how to spot. By the time it come round to it, I walked up to her and I think she had done 5. And then I was cheering her on, and then Faye walked around and she was like shouting at her, like, come on, don't you fucking stop it. Come on. Like that was Faye. Like she was fully
Top
going for it.
cheerleader.
I think Alicia was scared more than anything. I think her adrenaline turned on. But for what she went from was like, she thought she could do like 1 to 3 for this weight. And then she ended up doing 20. Like how do you go from 1 to 3 to 20? Like she has not gotten stronger in that amount of time.
Yeah.
She knew she had a spotter, so her confidence went up straight away. She's worked on her technique in that last hour, so her technique had gotten better under a heavier load.
Yeah.
She knew what she's doing, how to brace and breathe, and then she just had like the motivation and shouting from
Top cheerleader.
and screaming, and she got 20 reps. She's like, oh my god, I only ever do like 1 to 3 on this. I've never done more than that. And you don't get stronger in a moment. You've just never generally had to push yourself that hard.
No one's been screaming at you.
And Faye hasn't been screaming at you. It's just that people that train alone a lot, like most of us will do,
Yeah.
you'll never really get pushed unless it's towards a competition for a reason, or if you've had a PT and they're trying to push you for a reason.
Or if you've got a spot, maybe.
Yeah, you got like a partner with you. Knowing how much you can actually lift, like so many ladies will go, I can only shoulder press 3, I can only shoulder press this.
Yeah, who's that in the
And then
comments?
in my PT sessions, I would lie, like a lot of the time, I'd lie all the time in our PT session. They'd be like, how much is this? I'd be like, about 20 kilos. And then I'd put about 40 or 50 on a bar for deadlifting, and they'd do it purely because they didn't think it was that heavy and their self-belief was there. As soon as I tell them it's 50, 60 and they've never done it before, they're like, oh, they start to question, technique starts to go, they don't brace or breathe as well.
Yeah.
So I used to do a lot of that when I was PT and one-to-one in person.
I've done it too.
I'd just lie and I'd cover the number and just give it to them and tell them to lift it. If you can't lift it, we'll put it back.
Yeah.
A lot of time they'd lift it, not knowing how much it is.
Yeah, and I go through a thing where I tell myself it's just 20 on the bar, it's just 20 on the bar, it's just the 20 on the bar. I know, right? I put it on. I know there's more, but just like telling myself there's less. It's really light. It's just a feather. It's really light. It's really light. It gives you that confidence because you're like basically kind of like hypnotizing yourself to believe, aren't you? Subconsciously, like, well, it's just 20. It's not. It's like 100 or whatever. So deadlift, shoulder press. So, you know, there's the element of self-belief, which we didn't talk about earlier on when we were talking about being able to lift.
Yeah, that is one. Self-belief's a massive thing.
I wanted to go back to our thing that we do in our scenario, our 50 kilogram squat scenario. And I wanted to talk about lat raises because people ask why they can't do 12 kilogram lat raises when they do 12 kilogram shoulder press.
Because your name's not Faye Chapman.
I can't do 12s. Probably could. I'll push. It'd be crap. It would be crap, but I could probably do it. So the lat raise, which some people always get confused with this as well, it's not a back exercise because your lats are your back, but a lat raise is short for lateral raise, which is lateral from your body. Okay, it means like out. So these are just like small muscles on the top, unless you're me and Grace, they're massive muscles on the top. And so they can't lift as much as your chest or like all of your shoulder when you press in, or your back, or your legs, or your glutes, your hamstrings, So the size of your muscle, the frequency that you train it, all contribute towards the ability to lift heavy, isn't it? That's the formula that I just made up. Sounded good though. So does anyone else have any other exercise like, oh, well, what should I be lifting for? Well, X. What about like a bicep curl? 6. I'm pretty happy at 6. And how quickly should you be going up in weights, Cam?
Well, it depends. Depends how big you are. Depends how well you sleep. Depends.
Yeah, that's true.
I think a good thing to note is who should be progressing quicker than others. 2 very simple ones is you lean bulkers should be progressing than someone that's deep in a calorie deficit.
Can you explain that, Cam?
Yeah,
Because
I'm getting
okay,
that.
you just
So
use
the
technical
lean
jargon.
bulkers are the ladies in this program that have reached their weight loss goals, or they were at it in the first place, and now they're trying to increase muscle mass. They won't get bulky even if they tried. They're trying to actually tone up, shape up, build strength, build muscle by eating more calories than they're taking in, slightly in a surplus. So they should be slowly gaining weight over time. So they've got excess calories that their body can use to recover and fuel their workouts.
I will say before you move on, because I know you just like jump into the next sentence sometimes. Since I've started increasing my calories, so obviously before the shoot I was very, very low calories, like 12 to 1300 the week run up to the shoot. Now I'm at around 2000, and I can really feel the difference. I'm really starting to enjoy training again because now I can lift heavy. Like maybe before I was hitting like 12, 14, 16s at a push for shoulder press, and now I'm like bashing out 18s now, happy days. So I know. But yeah, like all of my lifts are consistently going up now. But I am comparing it to when I was eating nothing. I was doing loads of cardio. I was, 7 pounds lighter, for example. So the lean bulkers, and women are always afraid, aren't they? I should be eating less. I need to eat less, move more.
And that's the reason why a lot of women and men, because men don't get it right, they just don't eat enough. And
then they don't tone up.
Yeah, and you can't expect to tone up.
Food is fuel. Yes, I'm guessing that is Grace. That would just be
yeah. So essentially, if those people should generally be progressing. Doesn't mean absolutely every week you'll go up.
Yeah.
There'll be certain lifts where you'll hit a ceiling, and it'll take 2 to 3 weeks to even move up, maybe a couple of reps or weight. That is normal, but the whole point is to keep tracking and keep pushing, and maybe improve somewhere else while we're waiting for that to go up, and then vice versa. Like different bits will go up, and then the opposite. Like a good example is photo shoot people. They're going to be going into a deeper deficit closer to the shoot, say like 6 weeks out and inwards. They're not trying to build strength anymore. Like if they do, great.
Yeah,
you
Happy
can. If they're still in the first year of training, very likely. If not, they're just trying to maintain strength at best because it's not your goal anymore. If you're chronically under eating, which is people by accident, don't expect to increase your performance in the gym. And then this is where people get wrong. Like you want to lose weight, but you also want to have quite a good gym performance.
Yeah.
And if you do, you can still get stronger in a smaller calorie deficit. But most people don't do small. They do like
500 calories.
They'll do like 500 to 1,000 calorie deficit, 1,200, because it's a magic number. Yes, you drop weight, but again, that's why you just don't fuel your body to increase your strength. So I think that's an obvious one.
And the other people that will gain weight, go up in weights really quickly are newbie gains. So this is a magical term for all you people that have never lifted before and start getting into it. You get this wonderful phase called newbie gains, which means that you're just starting out and your muscles are like, yeah, I can lift heavy in this. Yeah, I can lift heavy in this. Yeah, I can. And it'll keep going, and then it'll stop. But, it will keep going for a while, like a year or so. So you should be really excited to be starting lifting weights. If you are like me and Cam, who get stuck on certain weights for
months,
years. Yeah, like my lat raises. Even though I do shoulders like all the time, I'm just not getting stronger on my lat raise. So there are different things we can do. Maybe we'll do that next week. How to get stronger when you're stuck on a number.
On a plateau.
Yeah, a weight plateau. So yeah, there are going to be times that you're going to be stuck and you just can't overcome it as quickly as you'd like to. So if you're new, definitely love this period when you're getting all these newbie gains. If you're eating more, love this period. We've got tons of calories to be smashing. If you're in a deficit and you're just trying to lose weight, maybe you need to come out of the deficit for a little bit. If you've been in a calorie deficit for 4 months or more, get out of it, okay? It's no good. You're just spinning your wheels. Now, that is it. We're going to wrap this up because we're going into our private Facebook group with our clients. We're going to do a Zoom. So everyone, I'm going to pop the link in there in a sec. But let us know that you turned up. Let us know if you got value, and we will speak to you guys soon.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.